Ooh, today we are talking about a very dad thing. Patreon dad today. I haven't called myself that here yet. Living within your means. Disclaimer, as all financial YouTubers do, I am not a financial advisor, so this is not advice to you. These are just things that I do and what I recommend for myself. And if that means that you might glean from that information, so be it. But I am not advising you to make these decisions because legitimately, while I might offer this as best practice or things that I think are safe financially, everybody's individual circumstances are different. And so I can't speak widely to everybody's financial circumstances when it comes to creative entrepreneurship and your personal life. And I don't want to be responsible for any of those decisions that you make. So keep watching things online. Use this as a piece of information that then you can bring to your family, your spouse, your financial advisor, and other people in your life and your community to make decisions and help you with those decisions. All that being out of the way, I'd love to just jump into the 5 topics on this subject with living within your means. If you are looking for that financial freedom to be able to create and be a photographer and a filmmaker that doesn't have any of those roadblocks financially to be able to do the things that you want to do, these are some of the things that helped me along the way. So first was minimizing debt, and that in turn giving me confidence in business to make financial decisions or make financial moves like buying gear or buying computers or buying the things I felt necessary for me to function as a creative, but then things that also inspired me to make things that helped me stand out. So minimizing that debt, I think the best debt to get rid of first is the highest interest debt. Someone like Dave Ramsey will recommend that you actually do the lowest interest debt because that's going to be the thing that's easiest or the smallest amount of debt usually, so that you can tackle that and then feel like you're steamrolling and snowballing into the next one and into the next one. I think that might be beneficial. Either way is fine as long as you're paying off debt, in my opinion. But if you're going to be smart about it, you're paying the most money in interest on the high interest debt. So things like credit cards, car payments, student loans, all those things that are much higher than things like a mortgage or a low interest business loan or something like that. I would highly recommend that you're getting that credit card down to zero. I'm zeroing out my credit cards every single month. And what's funny is the reason I did this on Twitter, if you're not following me on Twitter, you can. It's just Eric_Floberg. But I'm going to go to my Twitter real quick. I did a poll on people's credit card debt, and I looked it up online, and it was actually pretty on par with what the credit bureau, whatever government agency said the percentage is for people in debt with credit card debt. About 2/3 or 64% of my Twitter following and 190 votes said that they have a zero monthly balance on their credit card. 14% of the people carry $100 to $2,000 on their credit card. 9% do $2,000 to $4,000, and 13% are $4,000 plus. And then you had where is he? You had Dean Forbes who said none of your business, which was funny. I gave it a little heart. I did this because I wanted to just see, like, you're not alone. There are so many people who are also in this circumstance. And I did not do this to make you feel like, to shame anyone or to make you feel like you shouldn't be in that or whatever. It is what it is, right? Like, all I'm saying is, hey, you know where you're at. I don't think anybody wants to have any credit card debt, but just know that this is something that people are going through as well. And you can chat with people about this. Don't feel like you can't talk to anyone about working through trying to pay that off. I just want you to, I like polls like this and data like that to know, like, okay, you're in it with other people and you can lean on other people to help you meet the goals that you want to meet with paying that off to get to that place where you're doing a zero a month balance. So yeah, getting rid of that credit card debt, getting rid of those car payments, if that means that you're selling your car and then buying a cheaper used one, highly recommend. Just getting rid of all those monthly payments out of your life so that your budget can be ratcheted down, which is what I'm going to talk about a bit later. So I also highly recommend that starting out your business, you're doing it with slow growth and not taking on a business loan, not, borrowing 10 grand, borrowing 15 grand to buy a ton of gear, unless you're very confident, have a proof of concept where you're going to be able to pay that stuff off. I think that's really risky to take on that kind of financial burden in a loan, and rather just using what you have, and I'm going to talk about a bit about this later, using what you have at your disposal to make income and to get scrappy, working on the weekends and working at night and editing at night and waking up early outside of your part-time or full-time job to get that stuff done, and growing slowly so that income starts to trickle in. You're able to invest all that income right back in the business and then start profiting and raising your prices, which is the next thing I want to talk about, the raising and negotiating prices. I have a full video dedicated about that on Patreon. So if you want to go through the history of all the videos, there is a video titled that, how to price yourself, I think. But my rule for myself is always, if I have 50% of the work I want booked for the upcoming year, I will then raise my prices. And for weddings, it's always been $500 to $750 per package, which is about a 5 to 10% increase on all of my pricing. And that is just a supply and demand thing. If you're 50%, you're probably most likely going to book that second 50% in the following year. And so if that's the case, you might as well start increasing those prices, because as you get more and more busy, as you get more and more integrated into your market, you're going to have more and more demand knocking on your door, emailing you about inquiring for a wedding or for a shoot or whatever. So test those. If it's too much and you're starting to realize that people aren't booking you, there's no shame in just bringing it right back. Dial it back to what it was, fill out your season, and get yourself fully booked. The next thing is doing the work that you want. So doing the work that you want for free or for cheap is a very intriguing and amazing way to get your foot in the door of doing more of the work that you want. Maybe your portfolio isn't filled with the work or the aesthetic or the people who match your personality. So what you want to do is, anytime an inquiry like that comes in, or anytime you have the opportunity to shoot something like that, do it at whatever cost. Like Steven and I are still doing stuff like that. We're shooting Danny Gewurtz's wedding this year, and we're really not making any money on it. We're just gonna do it for fun. We are his friend now. There's a ton of opportunity in building that relationship and making YouTube content surrounding, Patreon content surrounding that wedding. And so it's just a win for us, in our opinion. So we're deciding to do that. And if that leads to more stuff, great. If it doesn't, oh well, it's still relationship building that we're doing. So you good?
Yeah, I'm ordering else beef. Does anybody want anything?
I'm going home after this. Yeah. You're good.
The light died, so I didn't know if you're
Oh, sorry. Gotcha.
So I need to get one,
Exactly. We need a red light. So fill your portfolio with that stuff that you're doing for free or doing for really cheap, so that you start booking all of the people that agree with that sentiment, have that style, cling to that philosophy, whatever it is that you're doing with that group of people or in that aesthetic, and start making moves to fill your portfolio with those things so that those people are really resonating with you and who you are and what you're about, so you can continue to niche into that category. Next, minimizing those monthly expenses, which is what I talked about in the beginning. Getting rid of that debt will start giving you the ability to make more money, essentially. Because if you aren't putting all that money towards debt every month, you now have extra income to spend and invest in your business. So on top of paying off that debt, you could trim your budget back. So not going out to eat, not ordering that Chipotle. I know it's tempting. I know the app is super easy to get it delivered to you, but really doing a due diligence on getting the groceries you need that month and cutting off all the fat, and not getting things like a new camera or a new laptop if you don't need it. If you can grind through the next season, the next year with the laptop that you already have or the camera that you already have, so that you can increase your budget, or you can increase your income, you can pay down that debt. I think that's much, much more valuable in the early stages than trying to get the better stuff to make your work better. I think there's more motivation, honestly, in feeling more freedom with your finances at the end of the day. So use what you have as a creative tool. Use it as a limiting factor for yourself. If it doesn't have a certain amount of functions that help you in the way you want in the new camera, let that be something that motivates you creatively to do something different and use what you have. So Finally, the power of investing is the last thing I want to talk about. So once that bad debt is gone with credit card, car payments, all those things, really consider what it would look like to invest. Literally, traditionally invest your money into a retirement account like a Roth IRA. There's other retirement savings accounts. I go more in depth into that in the classroom, which we're going to be dropping again this summer in June or July. So if you didn't get in on enrolling in the classroom last fall, we will be opening again this summer, where I go more deep dive on all the different forms of retirement investing and that sort of stuff in there. But maybe after you start doing that and maxing out that Roth IRA or getting the amount you want saved in retirement, then you could start considering that home purchase or getting more real estate or other investments like that, but not getting ahead of yourself and doing those things before that bad debt is paid off. So hopefully this is helpful to you. Hopefully that's a little bit motivating and just kind of getting inside my head about my philosophy and strategy towards finances when it comes to business. I think a lot of people don't think about the financial burden that's put on them until they're in it too far. And now all of a sudden, like, you need to book that next thing or else you won't be able to function or you won't be able to pay rent. I never want anybody to be in that position. A good resource, I don't agree with everything he says, but a good resource is Dave Ramsey with his Baby Steps program, or even just listening to people online like Graham Stephan or Andre Jick, any of their like really early videos about saving and paying off debt and finance. I think they're really, really helpful. So yeah, as always, if you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. Shoot me a DM if you have any questions either. And I will see you on the next time. My voice is getting raspy. YouTube, Patreon dad out.